Okay, great. Well, welcome. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here with us. While our team is pulling up our PowerPoint, I just want to take a minute to welcome everybody. I'm Kyla. I am the Senior Director of Program Strategy and Innovation with COAC Detroit. Um, I'll just start out by kicking us off and saying that when COAC came on as a partner to the KIPD Plus program a few years ago, we were really, really excited about the opportunity to work alongside Kresge and Michigan Community Resources to really bring the program closer to the community and residents that KIPD serves, and really shifting power and decision making to the people most impacted by these funds. In that spirit of continuous improvement and innovation, our organizations have been working really hard over the last year alongside a resident-led advisory group to really reimagine KIPD and ensure that all aspects of the program, from design to selection to program support, are really aligned with what our communities need most. So we're excited to roll out some program updates to you this evening based on the resident feedback that we've garnered over the past year. And so with that, I will turn it over to Lauren, our program manager.
Thank you, Kyla, and good evening, everyone. As Kyla said, my name is Lauren. I'm the KIPD Plus Grants Program Manager at COAC Detroit. I will be telling you a little bit about what you have in store if you apply for this grant program. And so here's our agenda for this evening, starting off with just a very quick overview about KIPD Plus. We'll move into the KIPD Plus partner introductions, go over the program structure, and then move into a networking breakout portion. We'll kind of give a little bit of a description about what all these breakouts will look like, but just to get a sense of what's to come later in the evening, there'll be an opportunity to meet some staff from each of the KIPD Plus partners. There'll be a breakout around what does implementation ready mean. If you have questions about eligibility or which grant track is right for you, there's a breakout for that, general FAQ breakout, and then a collaboration and fiduciaries breakout. So to start us off at the very top, an overview of KIPD Plus. As many of you may know, this was a grant program that was launched by the Kresge Foundation in 2014. KIPD stands for Kresge Innovative Projects Detroit. The purpose of the grant program was to support nonprofits in their work to improve the quality of life and strengthen the fabric of community in Detroit. In 2017, Kresge invited the Michigan Community Resources to join as a partner. They brought a technical assistance aspect to the program as well as led a cohort component. And then finally, in 2021, both partners, Kresge and MCR, as Michigan Community Resources is called, invited COAC to administer the grant program. In 2021, the program was also expanded to reach more than Detroit, extending to Highland Park and Hamtramck. And together, the three partners continue to co-lead KIPD Plus. So you've heard me say the partners' names. I want to take a moment to have those partners introduce themselves, the organization, and the role they play with this grant program. I'm just going to go from left to right to keep it simple, and I am going to pass it over to my colleague, Lakila, for COAC.
And thank you so much, Lauren. Welcome, everyone, to our wonderful info session for KIPD Plus. I am Lakila Dewberry, and I am the Grants Program Coordinator here at COAC. And just to give you a little more background about COAC, COAC is just that. We are always looking for ways to literally act together or to act collaboratively in our work. Our aim is to meet organizations where they are and provide tailored resources to help nonprofits achieve their missions. And we do that by building trust-driven partnerships and leveraging various perspectives to advance equity in everything we do, like being a resource for nonprofits and constantly piloting ways to think and do our work differently. Also by being a catalyst for cross-sector collaborations and by being a trusted convener and grant-making partner. And clearly some other people feel the same way about us so much that they decided to bring us on as a partner in this awesome work of KIPD Plus. And here at COACT in particular with this grant, we are the administrator, or more specifically, we're the folks who will handle the grant disbursement process. And we'll also be able to answer some questions about the program guidelines, eligibility, and things of that nature. So that's pretty much who we are and what we do in a nutshell. And at this time, I'll turn it over to our amazing partners. And that next person is going to be Shamil with MCR.
Thank you so much, Sakila. Good evening, good people. As you can probably tell, I'm in my car, and it's not lost on me that many of you are probably multitasking on this evening. So first and foremost, thank you for being here. We recognize that we all have full and busy lives, but the nature and the scope of this initiative is to support all of you doing the amazing work that you do. So that being said, Shamil Dobbs, I have the pleasure of serving as the CEO for Michigan Community Resources. Our organization has been around for 25 years. And if I were to succinctly explain our role and our mission, we're here to support all of you. Our mission is to uplift and support the missions of nonprofits, community-based, and grassroots leaders and organizations in ensuring that the work that you do can be done so in an equitable and sustainable manner. And we do so through a variety of different programs. And I'm going to punt in a little bit to my colleague who's on the call, Matthew, who is the Director of Resource Navigation. But I just want to simply say before I pass the mic to him that we are grateful to be in this space with all of you to support all of your various initiatives through office hours and technical assistance if you are chosen to receive the grant. And again, congratulations to all of you for just being here and starting the process. So Matthew, I'm going to turn it over. Just if you can give a little bit of color in terms of your role, the work, and that of our team with respect to KIPD.
Thank you, Shamil. Yeah, we're really excited to be here again. And it's really exciting to be part of a grant process that has been in itself community driven in terms of taking feedback from community members, taking feedback from partners like us and like COACT. It is a collaborative process. It's iterative. It is itself innovative in that way. So that's really exciting. I've gotten to be part of it for the last 5 years, and it's really to see just the creativity and the persistence and resilience that happens in our communities in Hamtramck, Highland Park, and Detroit. I led with them because they're the newest ones, and welcome to all those people. It's really great to see people this people in Detroit and this region, they just keep on keeping on and keep up coming up with new ideas to best meet the needs. And so we are here to best meet your needs. MCR plays an advisory role to everyone here, including COACT and Kresge and every one of you. We want to put the best projects forward. We want to see you put your best foot forward, whether you get funded or not. We're here to help support you in developing your project, and my whole team will be here. You're going to see them. You're going to see them soon, so I'm not going to take time to introduce all of them and in the specific ways that we help. That's coming, but we listen to you all, and we're advising on all levels, trying to make this the best fit and see the most exciting change happen in the cities. So thank you. I'll punt it to, I think, Brian with Kresge. I hope I'm right.
Thanks, Matthew, and good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Hogel with the Kresge Foundation's Detroit program team. Really appreciate you all making the time to be here this evening. Kresge is a national foundation. We fund all over the country, and we have a team that's specifically dedicated to the city of Detroit, our hometown. And our strategy in Detroit focuses on neighborhoods, excuse me, and strengthening neighborhoods. And the Kresge Innovative Projects Detroit Plus initiative is a really important part of that. As Lauren mentioned, we launched the program in 2014. This is now the 9th round of the initiative, and really are focused on providing resources to support nonprofits that are advancing resident and community vision for their neighborhoods, for their communities in the cities of Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck. And really thankful for MCR and COACT, who are our close partners in this initiative, and again, really excited that you all are here and are interested in the initiative this year. So look forward to talking to you all later in the breakouts.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. And now that you know us a little bit better, we'll move into the KIPD Plus program structure. So this grant program seeks organizations that are based in Detroit, Hamtramck, or Highland Park, serving residents and neighborhoods of those cities. We are looking for organizations that are reflective of the communities served in leadership and organizational demographics. And we're looking for projects that support the vision and creativity of residents in Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park to improve the quality of life in their neighborhoods or activate something new. Also, projects that advance neighborhood priorities and reflect the culture, history, and demographics of residents served, and projects that use inclusive collaborative processes to authentically engage community members in planning, design, and implementation as defined by the residents. So this slide, if you've been to a few of these info sessions, might look a little bit different. This year, we're funding KIPD Plus at 2 stages. That's 2 less than there used to be. So we will just have a planning and implementation grant track. The reason that there is this switch this year is because we had the pleasure of working with a resident advisory group over the past couple months in 2023. Who helped us take a look at the program and see what tweaks we might be able to make the grant program as equitable as possible. One thing that we lifted up for them was that these 2 grant tracks are the ones that normally have the most number of applicants, but end up being the least granted. And we wanted to address that. We know there are a lot of people putting time and effort into those 2 grant tracks and not a lot of people getting the funding and being able to move those projects forward. So this was the interim solution to getting more of those projects funded. We know it's not perfect, but the partners continue to discuss ways that we can bring more funding to the program as a whole. But to get back to the 2 tracks that are offered, planning and implementation, what does that mean? Basically, if you have a project and you've just got some more I's to dot and T's to cross before you're ready to go ahead and actually implement that project, that would be the grant track that you apply for. Implementation, a little bit more straightforward. It's like you've got everything ready to go, but you just need the money to do the thing. That's the grant track you would apply for there. Both tracks, you can request up to $150,000. You don't have to request that full amount. It's your application is equally competitive if you request less, and the grant period for both tracks is 24 months. And just to dive a little bit further into what we mean by implementation, there are 2 examples on the screen here of past grantees. So you can see on the left-hand side, their project budget was the full $150,000, and they were awarded the full $150,000. And on the right-hand side, their project budget was a little bit larger than what was awarded. And basically what we're trying to illustrate here is that you can apply for your full project. So if you have a renovation that's $150,000, you can request that $150,000 for the full project. Trying to make sure that we accommodate those folks who might have been interested in applying for those purely planning grants that were taken away. Wanted to, like I said, accommodate by also having folks be able to apply for a piece of a project. So to go with the renovation example, say you don't, you're not ready to renovate the whole building, but maybe you're ready to just install your roof. You could apply for a piece of that full renovation project, which is just the implementation of your roof. And I should also say, I know this is a lot of information. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll pause and try to answer as many as we can. Or you can save them for the breakout, whatever works for you. But just wanted to say that because I will try to run through a good number of these slides before I pause for questions. Another question that we get a lot is this grant program just for physical projects? So the example that I just gave was a physical project example. It was a renovation. In the very beginning of KIPD, most of these grants were for physical projects, but actually the opportunity is open to both physical and non-physical projects. So a physical project being, like I said, a renovation, or it could be turning a lot into a creative green space. A non-physical project more so looks like supporting community members, organizing around issues that impact their community, or bringing arts to activate places that are not used enough. So physical, like more like a building focused around a place, non-physical, not so much. And I talked a lot about funding, but we actually provide more than that, as you can probably have guessed from some of the earlier comments by some of the partners. So I'll turn it back over to the MCR team for this slide.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Ashley Johnson. I am a program manager with Michigan Community Resources on the resource navigation team. So if you are granted a KIPD fund, you have access to more than just the funding. MCR provides tailored cohort experiences for KIPD grantees. And these happen in things like educational workshops on topics that are relevant and important to the KIPD community. We also do both structured and unstructured networking activities. We do monthly coffee hours and other networking opportunities. And then we also offer like fun and or celebratory events as well. For example, last year we did an alumni event to celebrate the amazing work that's been done over the years of KIPD. So we provide a tailored cohort experience. And then in addition to that, we also provide one-on-one technical assistance. So the MCR team will assign you a champion if you are granted, and that person will walk alongside you during your project to help ensure that your project has the resources that it needs to be completed, and will help connect you to resources or just, talk through anything that you need to talk through in regards to your project. And then I think we're going to talk more about office hours later, so I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Ashley. So who can apply? Any nonprofit organization or community group that is located in the eligible areas, Detroit, Hamtramck, or Highland Park, that serve communities of those cities can apply. And then we're also looking for those same organizations, community groups, having alignment with our KIPD Plus principles. You can see the full details of those in our program guidelines, but generally those involve advancing principles of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, valuing responsiveness to community priorities, supporting vision and creativity of residents, and supporting recipients of grants with learning opportunities. Who cannot apply? I'll go through this fairly quickly because it's a lot of words on the screen, but individuals cannot apply, funders cannot apply. So that could be foundations or community development financial institutions as some examples. For-profit organizations, so your corporations, your small businesses, your LLCs are not eligible to apply. A public entity, including city departments or businesses within or under government entities, can't apply. Any college or university that is concentrating primarily on degree granting activities is not eligible. Places of worship, if the project is not serving the community at large. Schools aren't eligible to apply. In addition, any organization that has fewer than 2 years experience working with and serving residents in Detroit, Hamtramck, or Highland Park cannot apply. And that doesn't mean you have to have been an organization. So like registered with the state for 2 years, it just means having that connection with community for less than 2 years. It means that you're not eligible to apply. In addition, any 2023, so this was this past round, planning and implementation grantees are not eligible to apply. We try not to grant folks back to back. And then the year before that, so the 2022 planning and implementation grantees cannot apply if they're applying for the same scope of work that they did in 2022. And then I will lift up this note here. So all 501c3 nonprofits who are not eligible to apply can be a fiduciary for an eligible organization, or they can apply as part of a collaborative application, but they cannot be the person submitting the application. So they cannot be the lead applicant. And some other things about eligibility, you can only submit one application, so one per organization for each round. If your organization is not currently in good standing with LARA and or the IRS, you can still submit in both phases. So phase one, obviously, if you're invited to submit a phase two application, you can submit as well, but you must be in good standing to receive your grant award. And if you need support with getting in good standing, MCR is a really good resource for you there. And then at any point, if you don't meet any eligibility or a eligibility requirement, we'll let you know, and you will not be considered. And so this slide is just letting you know, we try to be as transparent as possible, that this grant program is very competitive. So if you look at phase one on the left-hand side, the past two rounds, we've gotten about 200, if not close to 300 phase one applications. This round, by the time we get to phase two, we're aiming to have between 20 to 40 finalists, and then hoping to end up with between 10 to 20 grantees. So you can see very large number of applicants that we're expecting to have, not very many grantees. Also lifting up that because it is competitive, it is possible that you could receive a perfect score and still not receive a grant. And that is not saying that your project isn't worthy or is bad by any means. It just means we've got more requests than we have funding for through KIPD Plus. And I will turn it back over to the MCR team for the office hours.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everyone. My name is Ravina Anthony. Welcome all. I work as the Senior Program Manager at Michigan Community Resources. As my colleague Ashley mentioned earlier, KIPD provides more than just funding. And one of the ways we do that is by offering grant application assistance in each round. As we have done each year, this year too, MCR, Michigan Community Resources, will be hosting in-person and virtual office hours where we will be meeting with KIPD applicants to provide direct one-on-one support in completing their grant applications. Our staff typically is able to respond to any questions you might have regarding criteria or eligibility. We can also advise on structure and the content and the written content and provide feedback there. We provide technical assistance with signing up on Submittable, which is the application portal you'll be using to submit your final grant. Also helping you just understand the application review process. Along with that, we also have a legal team that will be able to provide some assistance with general legal questions as well. Upon request, we offer interpretation support in Arabic, Bengali, or Bangla, and Spanish. And apart from the office hours that we've listed on the right of the slide, you can also reach out to us at any time at askkipd@micommunity.org, and I'll be dropping these links and addresses in the chat shortly. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. So as I mentioned, we're doing in-person and virtual office hours. So our first in-person office hours will be kicking off on the 15th of March, which is next Friday during the day between 11 to 3 p.m. in Hamtramck. In-person office hours are drop-ins, so it's first come, first serve. You do not need an appointment to meet with us, but because it's in-person drop-in, consider that there might be a small wait time there as well. And the second in-person office hour is happening the following Wednesday on 20th March in the evening from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Detroit Public Library in the Edison branch on Joy Road. Again, no appointments are needed for in-person, but there might be a slight wait time. On the right, we have our virtual appointment office hours, so you can also choose to meet with one of our staff virtually by booking an appointment through the link that I'll be dropping in the chat shortly. Through this link, you can book a 40-minute time slot with any of our staff members to again meet with us virtually via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And yeah, over to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Ravina. This is the last slide I will go through, and then I will pause to answer some questions. I see the chat blowing up a little bit. So this is just the program timeline. So you can see phase 1 applications open. They are open. They opened on March 4th. They will close March 27th at 5 p.m. Finalists will be invited to submit phase 2 applications and be offered the opportunity to do an optional site visit in May. And then the applications for phase 2 will close in June. Grantees will be notified of awards and the grants will be dispersed in Q3 of the year. At that time, we'll also have the grantee kickoff that MCR puts on. And then that's when the grant period will begin and the cohort meetings will begin as well. And just calling out that in between these circles in the beginning is where the selection process happens with our selection committee. And we'll dive into that a little bit further in these slides. But now I'd like to walk you all through the application process. So you can see there are 5 steps here. Starting with step 1, the phase 1 application is due. Like I said before, the applications are open now. They open March 4th and they close at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, March 27th. You can submit either a video. There's a set number of questions you have to answer, but for the narrative questions, you can upload either a video response or do a written response. The second step is the selection committee reviewing and scoring applications using the rubric. If you are interested in diving into that rubric, it is in our program guidelines, which is on our website. And then they make a recommendation to the COAC Detroit team, and we invite the finalists to submit the phase 2 applications in May. During that time, we also have an opportunity for you to do an optional site visit with our team. So that happens in the grant window. I'm sorry, the application window, so May through June. And then finalists have to submit their phase 2 application by the due date in June. Then there's another cycle of selection committee reviewing those applications, making recommendations to COACT, and then the grantee projects being chosen. That will happen in the 3rd quarter of this year. Diving into the steps a little bit more. Bear with me, some of this is repetitive, but we don't want you to lose these dates and this information. So you're submitting your phase 1 application if you're interested by Wednesday, March 27th at 5 p.m. You do that through a program or platform, I should say, called Submittable. The link to the applications is on the COAC Detroit website. If you scroll to applying, the first little bar underneath there will have the links for both the planning and implementation and the implementation applications. If you were to go to Submittable right now and open that link up, it would start off with an eligibility screening. This is basically just to double check that you meet all eligibility requirements. If you meet all those requirements, you'll be passed along to the full application. In that full application, we get general questions about your organization. And then, like I said, you'll submit your narrative responses that the selection committee will score you based off of, in addition to the other information that you submit about your organization, like your project budget. And the narrative questions can be, again, a video. So you can upload a video directly, or you can upload to YouTube and then provide the YouTube link, or upload to Vimeo and provide the Vimeo link, or just write out your responses. We do like to note that an email address is needed to submit your application and to receive confirmation that an application has been received. It'll also be the email that we reach out to when you're either invited to be a finalist or you do not get invited to receive a finalist, and we share a resource guide with you. So please take care to make sure that the email address you type in is correct. and make sure it's an email address that gets checked, because that is the email address that we will be communicating with you through. If you do not have access to technology or internet and you need to drop off a paper application, that is possible in phase 1. You can reach out to MCR for the paper application, and then also to learn where you can drop off those paper applications. So what you need for phase 1 and checklist form is to submit your fully completed application. You have to submit your project budget. It's a required question. And the template that is linked both here and in the application is required as well. I'm going to say that again. The budget templates that are linked here and in the application are required, so please use them. There's a template for physical projects and non-physical projects. The really only difference between the two is the example line items. And those example line items are just that, examples. If they're not relevant to your project, feel free to change them. I strongly encourage you, when you click on these budget template links, to look to the right hand side. There's some instructions to help you fill out the application. I'm sorry, the budget. And then there's also an example budget to let you see what we're looking for your budget to look like, the budget that you submit. So like I said, please use the budget templates that are linked here and in the application. They are the same templates. You'll also need to confirm your organization's leadership knows your organization is applying. This is really just a checkbox at the end of the application. So just make sure you've checked in with your leadership. They're cool with it. Hit the checkbox, you're good to go. If your organization is not a registered 501c3 in good standing, you can still apply with a fiduciary. We had a question about that a little bit earlier. So that is an option. And then you don't need to have your fiduciary identified in phase 1. So to submit a phase 1 application, if you don't have a fiduciary, that's okay. You will still be able to submit, but you will need a fiduciary and to have the relationship with them and all their information if you're invited to submit a phase 2 application, and we'll collect their information, at that time. I guess my slides are telling me to hurry up. And then if you look at the top right-hand corner here, that document I referenced where there's a list of folks that have volunteered to be fiduciaries or have worked with organizations as fiduciaries in the past is linked here. So if you click here, you'll be able to see that sheet. And again, we'll send out this deck to you at the end of today's session. Moving into step 2, so once you've applied, then the selection committee will begin to review applications. Our program partners are committed to honoring and uplifting resident and community decision-making. The committee members include staff of both COACT and Kresge. It also includes residents of the eligible geographies, so Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park, that were either chosen through a public nomination process. They might have been a past advisory group member. If you remember, I mentioned we worked with them last year to help do some small tweaks to the program. Or it could be a past selection committee member who also came through a previous round's public nomination process. In addition to having residents, we also look for residents with the following perspectives. So it could be arts and culture, city government, architecture and design. We look for past nonprofit grantees, so organizations that have received this grant in the past, and then nonprofits doing similar work. And then also like to lift up that when we get to the convening portion, so there is the review of the applications, then the selection committee comes together as a group in a convening. MCR is actually present there as well, and they are there as observers. So they're basically there to make sure that we're uplifting the program values and to make sure that those values stay at the forefront of our discussions, and also to be able to give accurate feedback and clear feedback, when they have those one-on-one sessions after the phase one applications are done with, and we move into the finalists round. A little bit more about the selection committee. So we really value diversity in our committee. We aim to have a true representation of gender, race and ethnicity, age, each of the Detroit City Council districts, Hamtramck and Highland Park, and then lived experience. Our selection committee is 75% resident and then 25% COACT and Kresge staff. And actually happy to say that that 75% resident percentage is probably higher because a lot of our staff members are also residents of the eligible areas. Also, our selection committee members have to attend an implicit bias training to try to eliminate some of that bias as they're reviewing applications. And then all selection committee members have an equal vote with at least 75% resident review per application, the other 25% being program staff. Our selection committee will be posted to our website to increase transparency, but we ask that you don't ask any questions to the selection committee about your application or its status. If you have any questions about anything related to your application, please reach out to COACT directly. Did I skip a slide? Okay, so I'm here. So the selection committee reviews applications and are looking that you demonstrate a history of leading work that serves the Detroit, Hamtramck, or Highland Park community, that there are clear and discrete scope and goals for your project, that you're outlining the community the project aims to serve and how the proposed project advances community priorities, and then that you're outlining how the project will improve quality of life in the community long term. So they review, there's a convening, they make a recommendation to COACT. Our team is committed to honoring their recommendations as much as possible. There are times where we make swaps to make sure that we are staying true to the demographics of the applicant pool and to make sure that we have representation of all the eligible areas. So making sure that we have representation from Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck. So then we'll notify the applicants in late May, and you will hear back if you are moving forward or if you're not. You'll be connected to additional resources at COACT or through our network of capacity building partners. And then any applicant who was not selected to submit a phase 2 application has the opportunity to meet with MCR, as their team has talked about a little bit, to discuss their application and other opportunities. Sorry, my computer is slow. And then steps 3 through 5 focus on phase 2. So we combine them. If you're invited to submit a phase 2 application, there's a whole nother information session at that time. But I've said this before, so hopefully it's not a surprise. The phase 2 applications open in late May. Phase 2 applications include answering questions and also some more attachments. So you can update your project budget at that time. We're looking for your personnel documents, some other financial documents, and also your scope and timeline. And since we're collecting so much information, we don't accept paper applications in phase 2. You have to submit everything online through Submittable. We have a 30-day application period. We try to aim for that in phase 1 and phase 2. So if we're opening in late May, then the window will probably close in late June. The exact dates will obviously be determined when we get to that point. We only accept written submissions, like I just said. And also at this time, you'll have an opportunity to request an informal site visit with COAC staff. We strongly encourage you to do these site visits. It's an opportunity for you to show your project or share about your project. You know, some people do better on camera than they do in the written form. So if you're one of those people, it's really an opportunity to shine and share about your project. And then again, we have the selection committee reviewing, scoring, another convening, and then we notify whether you're receiving a grant or not. That notification should come sometime in the third quarter of this year, so the summer of this year. Other eligibility requirements at this point in phase 2. So applicants must be in compliance with LARA and the IRS to receive a grant award. And then I think we said this earlier as well, if one is needed, an applicant must have a fiduciary identified to submit their phase 2 application. So phase 1, you don't need a fiduciary identified yet, but you need one in phase 2. And this is basically how you get to the applications if you're interested. So go to our website, coacdetroit.org/KIPD. You scroll down a little bit, there will be a section called applying, a little tab that says how to apply. You click on that and the links to both applications are here. So planning and implementation on top and implementation on the bottom. And this slide just has links to some other helpful resources. So our FAQs, our program guidelines, the links to the applications are here. The second info session, which is in person on March 14th, the registration link is there. We've got the budget templates linked again, and then MCR's office hours. And I need to change that slide number because we moved that slide up. All right, I'm gonna move us along because we wanted to have a good number of minutes for the breakouts because I know I still see questions coming in. So I wanna make sure people get their questions answered. This slide here just basically outlines just in bullet point form what the partners do with the program. So COACT, you're coming to us if you have questions or comments around the administration of the program, anything around the selection or the program development of the development of the program. That's when you would want to reach out to us. MCR is really there to provide technical assistance for applicants, for grantees. They develop the cohort and then also are developing the program as well with us and Kresge. And MCR, I don't know if there's anything you want to add there. And then Kresge is there to provide historic context of the program, past awards, project examples. They continue to engage with grantees, present and future, and provide partnership and advocacy, and they're the program funder. They also co-lead and help develop the program as well. Brian, I don't know if there's anything else you'd want to add there.
Nope, that's perfect. Thanks, Lauren.
Yep. And so we would love to get your feedback on this information session. Don't feel like you have to grab your phone and take a picture of this QR code right now. We'll drop a link to the feedback survey in the chat as well. And please do take a moment to fill it out. We'd appreciate that very much. And now we'll move into the networking and the breakout portion. So you've seen this slide before. Here are the breakouts. I'm going to call on the leads of each of the breakouts to just give a quick description of what you can expect, starting with Asia for Meet the COAC team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asia. If you come in to meet the COAC team, we'll just briefly talk about COAC and if you have any questions about any services or resources we provide.
Thank you. Brian, for Meet the Kresge team.
Hi, everyone. Brian again. Just an opportunity for y'all to meet me, for me to meet you all, and just have a conversation.
Thanks, Brian. I think I'm going to Adriana for Meet the MCR team.
Yes, and that was because I'm the last but not the least MCR team member who has been introduced at this point. I'm Adriana Walker. I am one of the program managers with the resource navigation team at MCR. Yeah, so we definitely have our breakout room and we are there to meet you all just as the other team partners have said. We're just here to explain more of what MCR does and how we can help in the process.
Thanks, Adriana. I'm leading the What Does Implementation Ready Mean breakout with one of our partners, Christina. And basically, you can come to our breakout if you want to find out a little bit more about what being implementation ready means, since this year we're focusing on implementation grants. Next is Sydney for Am I Eligible? Which grant is right for me?
Hey everyone, my room will cover questions about eligibility and helping to determine the best grant for you to apply to.
Thank you. And Lakila for general.
Yeah, so I have general FAQ, so we'll definitely go in depth a little bit more about those questions.
And last but not least, collaboration and fiduciaries of Ravina or Matthew.
Hey again, everyone. Yeah, we're just going to be hanging out to answer any additional questions you might have about partnering with other partners or fiduciaries.
Perfect. So that is the end of the slideshow. I'll share steps for getting into the breakouts in a second. I will share that we're not going to come back together as a full group. So I do want to just thank everybody for your time and your interest in the grant program. I hope you got some good information and you get your questions answered. And then hopefully we get to learn more about your projects when you apply.